Students, is the screen visible? Just confirm.
Yes,
Okay. Okay, we'll proceed towards the post-reading activity of Hawk Roosting by Ted Hughes. One of the 20th century most prominent poets. In the poem taken from Hughes' second collection, Lupercal, a hawk is given the power of speech and thought, allowing the reader to imagine what it's like to inhabit the instincts, attitudes, and behaviors of such a creature. The hawk has an air of authority, looking down on the world from its high vantage point in the trees and feeling like everything belongs to it. The poem is particularly keen to stress the way that violence in the hawk's world, at least, is not some kind of moral wrong, but a part of nature. Hawk roosting is one of the large number of poems in which youths explore the animal world. So this is the summary. I, a hawk, sit at the top of the forest with my eyes shut. I am doing nothing, holding no false dreams between my head's curved beak and curved talons of my feet. In my sleep, I dream about killing my prey perfectly and eating them. The trees are so well suited to my way of being. The air I float on and the sun's light seem perfectly adapted to my way of life. And the earth faces the sky so I can inspect it. My feet are gripped tightly to the branch. It took millions of years to make my foot and every single feather. Sometimes I hold other products of creation in my foot when I catch them. Other times I soar high into the sky, revolving the world around me as I spiral up in the slow circles. I kill when and where I want because the world belongs to me. I have no use for clever but false logical thinking. My politeness is ripping the head off my prey. Look at this. My politeness is ripping the head off my prey. That is what is polite to me. That's how death gets dished out. And my one true way takes me straight through life, causing others to die. I need no logical justifications for my actions. I fly between the earth and the sun, and it has always been this way. My gaze has not allowed anything to change. I will keep things like this forever. So now look at the themes. In Hawk Roosting, Ted Hughes imagines the interior thoughts of one of the great birds of prey, the hawk. The poem is told entirely from the perspective of the hawk, which is personified as having the powers of conscious thought and a command of English. What the hawk lacks, however, are human qualities like mercy and remorse. Remorse means guilt. Guilt means what? When you do something wrong, you should feel bad. You should feel sorry, and you should be in a position to accept that guilt. But this hawk does not have that. It is ruthless and direct in its thoughts about hunting prey, though this violence is presented matter of factly as simply part of what the hawk is. Imagining what goes on in the mind of hawk facilitates a deeper meditation about nature, which the poem presents as both majestic and fearsome. Violence, the poem suggests, is just as much a part of nature as is beauty, and the natural world isn't subject to human notions of morality. The hawk is a killer, and part of the poem's aim is to make clear just how natural this violence is. To that end, the opening line depicts the hawk sitting at the top of the wood, symbolizing its place at the top of its ecosystem. And the poem is graphic in its depiction of the bird's violence throughout. The hawk refers to its manners as tearing off heads and its flight path as direct or through the bones of the living. The hawk's life is literally governed the allotment of death. In other words, it is meant to kill. The hawk knows this and comments on the way that nature seems to be perfectly designed to facilitate the hawk's hunting. So the hawk is trying to justify its actions because it says the nature has created me to kill. Therefore, I am doing it. Nature is of advantage to me, it says, and describes itself as the product of the whole of creation. Creation here refers to both nature and the entirety of existence, while also alluding to a religious worldview. This religious element is relevant to the poem because much of human morality is based on or informed by religion and vice versa. The mention of creation speaks to the hawk's prowess, but also to the incredible way that nature evolves to create the conditions of its creatures to flourish, even if those same creatures are essentially killing machines. The hawk insists upon its rightful place within the natural order by describing the prey that it holds in my foot as part of creation too. It says, see, look at this. It's like saying God created me and now the God's creation itself is in my foot. Means like subordinating God itself. The hawk understands that both it and its prey have their roles to play, even if one seems easier to stomach than the other. In other words, the hawk's capacity for violence is as natural as things that seem more innocent, flowers or puppies, for example. In other words, the hawk's capacity for violence is as natural as things that seem more innocent, flowers or puppies, for example. It says, just like how flowers or puppies or any lamb or any normal creatures or any, what do you say, soft creatures are expected to be soft, I am expected to be harsh. And that's my nature, and that is why I am created. This understanding that killing and violence are an integral part of nature informs the hawk's attitude and personality. It rejects human understanding and morality, claiming that it has no need for falsifying dreams or sophistry. Sophistry is the use of clever but false arguments, which the hawk, acting in accordance with its true nature, has no need for. As such, humans are wrong to project their moral frameworks, especially the equation of violence with evil, onto the natural world. Nature insists the hawk is governed by its own laws. That's why the hawk has only one path. Its one true way is that of a killer. Killing is its nature. And that's why the hawk states that nothing has changed since I began. I'm going to keep things like this. Its way of being is innate and natural and will continue to be this way, stoking fear in the hearts of its prey. The poem then explores nature by focusing on one small part of it, the hawk. Through giving voice to the hawk, the poem insists on the way in which nature is both miraculous and violent. It argues that violence and innocence, in the natural world at least, coexist in balance, and that human moral frameworks don't really apply accurately to the creatures like the hawk. So, again, it's a literal understanding. So, the symbolic meaning, you can compare it to any actions, any political actions or economic actions that took place in the 20th century. It could be the world wars. So, the mentality of the hawk could be equated to that of the dictatorship. It could be referred to the Hitler's dictatorial approach, and the Cold War that happened in the 20th century, where each of them thought that they are right and people are meant, and even the colonization that took place. So the mentality of the hawk could be compared with that of the colonizer as well. So the colonizer felt that people of the third world are meant to be ruled because they are not sophisticated. So I want to sophisticate. So the hawk's mentality could be compared to that of the rulers of the during the Second World War, or the world wars, or the colonizers, or the rulers who were part of the Cold War as well. So here it talks about the adamancy. So you can easily compare it with The Tiger by William Blake, and you can contrast it with The Lamb, again by William Blake. So you may even get a comparative and contrast question related to Tiger and The Lamb by William Blake and Hawk Roosting by Ted Hughes. Okay, any doubt?